And so it begins. Hello you guys, and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies. My name is Sarah, and today is officially day one of the daily vlog for this school year. I'm very excited. This is going to be an adventure, and I'm probably gonna get a lot better at this over time just because right now I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. But today is all about PD. It is our first day of school technically, but no students are here. It's my class. So today's class for the teachers. So I'll be heading to some workshops very shortly. It's a pretty busy day, I think, and it's with the whole district today. So I'll be off to do that very soon, but before I go, I have to look up a couple basic things like Illinois teaching number we need for something new now. And I had to get here a little early because I had to set up my projector. They're actually using this room to present in, and I didn't want to be, the one that didn't even have a projector set up. So we're good now. Everything's running smoothly. So I will check in with you guys later on. Bye. Hello you guys, I am back. We are just about done with the training today. We went to 3 workshops. I had one on mastery learning, which I'll talk more about tonight because I really am interested in it. We also had a talk on trauma sensitive practices, which I'm sure I'll make another video about because I found that to be really helpful too. And then we also just had one on reading strategies, which was definitely more geared towards elementary students, so I don't really feel like there was much I could take from it, but at the same time, the fact that the first 2 were so helpful, I feel really happy about. So that is kind of a wrap up. We have a little bit of time in the room, so I'm gonna do a few small things just to start getting more ready for the students' arrival on Wednesday. I'll be in my room a bit more tomorrow as well. And then after I take care of that, then we'll be heading home, and I anticipate there will be quite a bit of school stuff tonight, so the vlog will continue much later after the school day. So I'll see you then. Hello you guys, I am back. It's currently 10:45 p.m. If there's any background noise, I apologize. I have the dishwasher running. I didn't plan to do this little bit this late, but this is very realistic for me, and probably we're gonna see a lot of this approximate time, which is honestly 10:45 p.m. is not late for me, but we'll get into some of my goals for the year in terms of health goals in a future vlog episode. But anyway, I wanted to kind of recap the day a little bit just because the beauty of PD days is that it's kind of a nice chance to be the learner rather than be the one who's teaching and very on all day. It's nice to be on the passive side occasionally, but also the downside of that is that there's not really any downtime. It was kind of like go, go, go all throughout the day. And so I then didn't have a whole lot of time to vlog, and I did leave right after. With this vlog, as it is the first one, I wanted to talk a little bit about what you can expect. I think I briefly described this in one of my past vlogs, but if you're someone who's here, or let's say throughout the year you discover and you want to go back to the beginning, this is it. So I wanted to kind of talk through it. As far as the specifics, there are going to be 3 parts to each vlog. First, it's going to be about the school day itself. So what am I doing with my students? What are some of the things that happened during the day? How did I handle those situations? All those kind of things. Those are a lot of things what you're probably used to from other teacher vloggers as well if you watch any other channels. So there's that side of things. That will be part of it. The second part is that I want to have some sort of segment related to education or something pertaining to teachers as a whole. It might not be directly related to what happened that actual school day for me, but I want to make sure there's a piece that adds value, even if you're not like a social studies or Spanish middle school teacher. If I can provide that general information or idea, thought process, something like that related to education, that is very exciting to me. And then the third piece is then the after school piece. I haven't watched a ton of other teacher vlogs. I'm subscribed to some channels, but really don't find that I have too much time to watch them. I find that many of them do not actually show what they're working on when they come home from work, and that could be a couple of reasons. First of all, maybe I'm wrong, maybe a bunch of them do and I just don't watch those vlogs or channels. Maybe they've got a really healthy work-life balance and they're not working on school stuff at home, or maybe they are, but that just that's like personal time, private time, they don't want to have the camera on. It could be a lot of reasons, but at least for me, and maybe some of you can relate, for my teaching career thus far, in the first 4 years I've been teaching, I have been doing so much at home. The school where I first taught, I taught there for 3 years. I had 4 preps, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade social studies, and freshman Spanish. That schedule, it helped me grow in a lot of ways, and like if I had to go back I would do it all again, because very, very positive experience. But I was hustling so hard. I feel like on average when I came home from school I probably worked on school stuff for sure about 3 to 4 hours a night after school my first year of teaching, and maybe by the third year of teaching it was down to like 1 to 2 hours per night, but there was always something to do for school in the evening. It was so rare for there to be a night where I didn't have to prep anything. And honestly, you know, now that we're far removed from that, especially my first year, there were times where I'd spend, like until I was just physically so exhausted working on stuff till like 2 in the morning, go to bed, and I still wouldn't be fully ready for the day. There are way more times than I want to admit where there were specific classes where I had no idea what we were going to do even just like 10 minutes before class started. So a lot of the positives that come from that, I became a much more like quick thinker. I don't dwell on things, I just act and, you know, create a lot of content for teaching. I create a lot of curriculum based materials, but it was a little bit intense in the evenings. Last year I probably spent on average about 1 to 2 hours, but more so on the lower end just because I just was teaching one subject, and this school definitely has a more healthy work-life balance, which is great, and I'm very happy to be a part of that. And a lot of it too just kind of came from balancing like finishing up my master's degree and other things too. I want to show more of that like real behind the scenes perspective. I am actually trying, I guess I should get into some values or goals for the year. I am trying to do a lot better with work-life balance in terms of like my teaching job and then when I come home. So a big goal of mine that you'll hear about throughout the year and we'll monitor is trying to limit the schoolwork I do at home. Again, that's not really, you know, something that I think can start right away, but I want to do better with that and have a good sense of that balance. So that's kind of a big goal of mine. And then as far as just to talk a little about the goal with this particular vlog, you know, doing the daily vlog, there's a couple kind of like, I guess if I had to think about like what my mission is in doing it, it's a couple different parts. On one hand, I am obsessed with social studies, if you couldn't tell. I know I technically teach Spanish too, but like my true love of teaching is within social studies. I'm obsessed with it and just get super pumped up about all the different things, and I really wish I had more time to do social studies stuff with the kids because that's my favorite thing. So I have a big passion for it, but I also have a passion for trying to make it more exciting. I know not every lesson maybe achieves that, but I think that at least, you know, my perception or just from my own experiences in school, I think there's still a lot that can be done to really make it more relevant and exciting and culturally inclusive, especially when we're talking about like US history. And I want to kind of help teachers feel that spark and creativity, and like I want my resources that I put together to give people new ideas to spin it in a more positive, fun, exciting way. I'm also very excited about a lot of the skills that come with social studies. Within the last couple years, Illinois has gotten new social studies related standards, and I love these standards so much just because they're very skill based. So also giving our students the skills to be really successful no matter what topic they're learning. And there's a lot that we can do with that, with geography and finance or economics and civics. There's a lot of really cool layers to add to social studies, you know, using these new standards. So I feel really excited about the content. So that's a key piece. If you haven't seen my love of it yet, it's coming. So that's one layer. But then a second layer is that I really value teachers, and I want teachers to value themselves. I am someone who does have a pretty high amount of confidence, and even though I would say I am a workaholic, I do recognize when enough is enough, and I feel like I want to be someone who helps support teachers and teacher health. Just the fact that as a nation in the US, teacher burnout rates are about 50% after 5 years. So meaning after 5 years, you know, the odds are that half the people who enter the teaching profession leave. You know, that's messed up. Like there's problems there. In addition to obviously loving social studies, and I also do really care about the kids. I know I didn't mention that part yet. I also really care about teachers, and I want teachers to advocate for themselves and also know when they need to step back to help heal themselves, make sure they're doing okay. And so when you watch these vlogs, you're gonna notice a lot of topics related to that. You know, self-care, just mindset shifts, you know, confronting some of the ideas of perfectionism that I see with a lot of teachers. I will be the first to admit that I do not care at all about like trying to be perfect, and I'm not, and you won't get that vibe here on this channel. But I think a lot of teachers really do have these perfectionist ideals. I know it's been a struggle for Jake. I think comparing yourself among other teachers is an issue we have within teaching. Obviously there's a lot of ideas to be had out there, but I don't think I'm the only one who sometimes feels pressured by everyone sharing their ideas and me feeling like, shoot, like I didn't come up with that, like I'm not doing all those things, what am I doing wrong? And I want us to get away from that because I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's really sustainable for sticking with teaching. So that's another angle that I really care about. And also just really celebrating like relationships with the kids and, you know, building that community, building just a really welcoming, positive, fun place. Like when I go to school, like I want to connect with these meaningful relationships and just have fun. Like those two things, it's very basic, but that's ultimately like what the best part is, if we're being honest about the job. Of course, I mean, seeing the growth and learning in your content and all that too, but so that's kind of the lens I'll be using this year as I do these daily vlogs. So just so you know like what you're getting, and if this is of interest to you, I wanted to mention that. So all that general rambling aside, of course this video is going to be longer than most, I assume. What have I been doing tonight? Since I got home, I did a couple things. This year our school is doing a PBIS theme of like board games or different games. And so a lot of the teachers are decorating the outside of our classroom with a certain game. So I had said I was going to decorate it with Risk. I thought it was very social studies themed, and I even like got some letters ready for the big title. Here's the thing though, I don't actually have Risk, and I was realizing when I was at school today that a lot of other teachers just bought the games or had the game and just taped stuff up. And I was gonna try to like make something, but this is where I wanted an easier option. So I went to Goodwill and I couldn't find Risk, but I found National Geographic Global Pursuit. And so what's kind of cool about it, I had actually not heard of this game before. It's older because it's got Soviet Union on this big map here, but I was actually pretty pleased with it. It was $3.99. They had all these cool cards, and on the back they have like different pieces of map. And so I thought that these would be really neat to like hang up outside the room. I still might tie something in with like the Risk title, because I mean, I'm guessing no kid regularly plays National Geographic Global Pursuit. I'm just gonna guess. And maybe Risk is more well known for them. But yeah, it's got all these, it's got a bunch of trivia cards, which are cool, like with different questions on them. It's got a 12-sided die, which is really cool because I've never had one. I don't know yet exactly what the use of this would be, but I'm pretty pumped about this. And then it's got all these little game board type pieces, which I feel like will have a good use in the classroom. I'm gonna bring this in tomorrow for room decorating. I kind of came up with what I want my class expectations to be. I narrowed it down to essentially 4 short phrases that I think stand for a lot. And of course, there are a lot of different policies and whatnot, but I wanted to try to come up with a very short and simple way to think about these class policies. So I came up with 4 phrases: be prepared, be punctual, be present, and be polite. And I feel like those cover what I want to cover. Being prepared, of course, I want them to have what they need, and I am going to be much more strict this year in terms of how I monitor that, and it will essentially be like 3 strikes, 3 times you're not prepared for class, it will be a detention. And I am, of course, when I go over this policy, going to address the fact that, you know, if there's financial issues, like I'll help provide the supplies for you, but you just have to take initiative. It's very interesting, actually. Even though I have some hesitations with the program that a bunch of people at Jake's school they are implementing, it's based on the Ron Clark Academy you know, what that school, a policy that school has, and we can see similar case studies, is when schools have really high expectations, the students rise to meet them. And so one of the policies there, if you don't have materials you need, you're not prepared, it's an automatic hour-long detention. No exceptions. And guess what? When that policy is in place, the kids are prepared. They build those responsibility skills, and you know, it's not much of an issue. Last year, I had a big issue with kids not having anything. Many of those cases, it's not necessarily a financial issue. I probably saw over 100 examples throughout the year of kids purposely like breaking pencils, throwing pencils, you know, all of that. So it's like, I know it's not just like a financial issue, but even if it is a financial issue, I can help, you know, give students a pencil that they need and then just expect them to, you know, bring it back the next days. But I want to set those high expectations so the kids rise to reach them. I want to not baby the kids. They're going to high school. So being prepared is really important to me, and that's like the first pillar of this, first tier of this. The second one, be punctual, arrive to class on time, sit in your assigned seat with your notebook out, ready to learn. Because we'll start out in their notebooks, they'll do their daily bell ringer and their gratitude for the day. So we'll have that. That's really important. I don't want to waste time with people coming into the classroom late and milling around the room. Have a seat, sit down in it. That's a priority as well. Be present. So with this, kind of just thinking of like that mindfulness, you're focused on whatever our main task is. You're not playing computer games, you're not talking to your neighbor, you're not shopping for shoes. All of those things happen very often that I had to redirect or give detentions for. So, you know, we're just being really upfront about this. And then lastly, be polite. So with being polite, treating yourself, I mean, like the student, treating yourself, other students, teachers, staff, and the building and school property with respect and kindness. So I think those four kind of really cover what I'm looking for and are like a really easy way to remember all of them. So it's pretty basic, but just on a Google Doc, I switched it to landscape and just typed them out, and I'm gonna print these on colored paper. Also, what I was working on is GCN training, Global Compliance Network training. I don't know if your districts do that. I don't know how widespread it is. All of my years I have to do some of these workshops. They're not usually due till November, but we do have about 3 hours allotted to complete them on Wednesday while we're at school. The students, it's just a half day, but I wanted to work on them here at home and then have that time at school in my room to work on other things, because I don't know, I really dislike busy work in the classroom, and this feels like busy work for teachers. It's more so kind of those mandated things, but when you're doing the same exact webinar for, now this is my 5th year of doing the same exact webinars, you know it, and it's not really new information anymore, and just since it's repetitive, it takes a long time. You know, what I found is here at home, I can click through the slides. You have to wait until the person reads it aloud on the screen. So I'd rather, you know, have it playing while I cook dinner or while I'm cleaning something up, you know, or while I'm more like passive here at home, so I can still be, you know, enjoying other things and not just be at the computer staring at it, waiting for the narrator to read it really slowly. So I have mostly gotten that done. I have just one of the 8 modules left to take care of, and then that will be done, and there will be extra time on Wednesday. The last thing I will be working on is to just double check, go over my start of the year documents and my miscellaneous notes for next year that I did last year, document, just to make sure I've covered everything on there, make sure there's not any tasks that I forget to do, and then when the school year rolls around, realize that I didn't take care of that. But I think that will conclude our first vlog. Like I said, I know today was a little bit more talk heavy, but it's just, I think, getting us set up for this, and I'm really excited to go on this adventure with you guys of actually daily vlogging every day, uploading it every day. I think it will be more meaningful, both for me, rather than trying to do it on a weekly basis, but then also just not being at a point in life where it was as feasible. So I think it's going to be really exciting, and I hope that, you know, I'm able to give you guys value as well as you're watching. So if you want to check out any of our past videos, you can do so over here, or you can subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on any of these vlogs that are to come. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.